I'm Sarah Huggins, revisiting my character's jacket from a sewing rather than a dyeing perspective, although the dyeing was more fun and took less time than the sewing, to be honest, and someday I really want to just make a plain coat and dye the whole thing. Anyway. Started the idea of multiple strips of fabric, and then the sleeves were shorter than I wanted, so I tacked on this cuff, but that works. And I French seamed things together because anyone who's been to any sort of convention can tell you that they are warm, and if you're wearing multiple layers, you want all your layers to be about as thin as possible. So French seams and assembled each strip to approximately the desired length. Normally a section would be cut out for the collar in front, and I decided, you know what, I really don't, I mean, as like I'm making all this, I'm putting the fabric in, I just don't need to put fabric in there. So this ended up being the center back strip, which worked really well. So two things I would do differently if I had this all to do over with. One, when cutting out pieces in advance to decorate for particular parts, I would have labeled them, because I'm pretty sure I ended up cutting up some pieces that I meant to use as parts of the under kimono into, or kasode, that thing. Yeah, I ended up cutting up one of the sleeves and using it in this, and I really should have saved it for that, and then I had to piece the sleeve together. It was fun. So keep track of which parts are for which project. It's very, very useful. Anyone who has good ideas on how to do that, I would love to learn. And the next is, once you figure out how your pieces are going together and where you want them on the coat, make sure you label your piles, like just letters, numbers, some kind of system so you know what order they go in. I ended up laying this out, figuring out I had enough, sewing some of it together, picking it all back up, laying it out again later when I had time and space to work on it, and having no idea where things went. I think the plan changed 2 or 3 times. But I am pleased with the result. And even though the embroidery on the collar is not done, this whole thing sort of started because the ladies in my crafting group were getting into sashiko. And while cross stitch drives me absolutely nuts, I end up with this horrible snarl on the back of it. Sashiko, it flows, it makes sense, you don't have to worry as much about tension because you're stretching the fabric at the end to bring, well, not the end, but as you're sewing, you stretch the fabric and you don't have to bother with a hoop, and things get pulled tight as you're going and little loops get left, and there's 2 layers, so this is the bottom. This is the back side. Yeah? It's very, I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's not the snarled mess I get when I try to do cross stitch, so there's that. And, oh, yeah, so this is the half that's done. And I love just how the pattern emerges out of the lines. And then you end up with a part that's not quite done, but it's getting there. So I've probably had more fun with this coat than I've had any particular right to. But I hope you make something that you like. Embrace the fuzzy do.